Our planet's ecosystems are under threat, facing unprecedented challenges from climate change to unsustainable practices. These threats manifest in various forms, impacting biodiversity, water resources, and the very air we breathe. And nowhere is this more evident, more starkly visible, than in the world's drylands. Those vast expanses of land that cover a significant portion of our planet's surface. These regions, already characterized by limited rainfall and challenging environmental conditions, are on the front lines of a growing crisis. Desertification is not just deserts growing, it's a far more insidious process than simply the expansion of sandy landscapes. It's the gradual loss of fertile land in dry, once productive areas, a creeping degradation that transforms vibrant ecosystems into barren wastelands. This includes semi-arid regions, and even subhumid areas, regions that might seem less vulnerable but are in fact increasingly susceptible to the effects of desertification. Once productive soil becomes barren, stripped of its nutrients and its ability to sustain life. The earth, once teeming with microorganisms and capable of supporting a diverse range of plant life, is reduced to dust, unable to support crops, leaving farmers with nothing to harvest and communities facing food shortages. Livestock, the lifeblood of many dryland communities, struggle to find grazing, leading to malnutrition and death. Or wildlife, native species that are pushed to the brink of extinction as their habitats disappear and water sources dry up. The delicate balance of the ecosystem is shattered. Over 2 billion people are directly affected by this phenomenon, their lives and livelihoods intricately linked to the health of the land. Their livelihoods and food security are at risk, threatening their very survival and forcing many to migrate in search of sustenance. Imagine a farmer watching fields turn to dust, years of hard work and investment reduced to nothing by the relentless advance of desertification. Or a herder searching for vanished pasture, walking for miles each day in a desperate attempt to find enough grazing to keep their animals alive. This is not a hypothetical scenario. This is the harsh reality in over 100 countries across the globe, from Africa and Asia to the Americas. Desertification is a silent crisis, often overlooked and underestimated, yet its consequences are far-reaching and devastating. Unfolding in failed harvests, leaving communities hungry and vulnerable, and dried-up wells, depriving people of access to clean drinking water and hindering their ability to irrigate crops. It disrupts weather patterns, leading to more frequent and intense droughts, floods, and heat waves, reduces water availability, exacerbating existing water scarcity issues, and leading to conflicts over dwindling resources, and pushes species toward extinction, further diminishing biodiversity and disrupting the delicate balance of ecosystems. The health of our soil is inextricably tied to the health of our civilizations. A healthy soil provides us with food, clean water, and a stable climate. Even those far from drylands are affected. Desertification is not just a local problem, it's a global challenge that impacts us all. Dust from Africa, for example, can travel across oceans, carried by prevailing winds to distant continents, impacting air quality in faraway lands and contributing to respiratory problems, and influencing weather worldwide, altering rainfall patterns and contributing to extreme weather events. Loss of farmland in one region due to desertification pressures global food supplies and prices, leading to increased food insecurity and social unrest in vulnerable populations. Degraded land can't store carbon, a vital element in regulating our planet's climate, releasing it instead and accelerating climate change, creating a vicious cycle of environmental degradation. We're all connected, our fates are intertwined, regardless of where we live. The health of one region directly affects us all, highlighting the urgent need for collective action. Desertification is driven by both climate change, which is increasing the frequency and intensity of droughts, and unsustainable human activity, such as deforestation, overgrazing, and poor agricultural practices. Addressing it means rethinking how we manage natural resources, adopting sustainable practices that protect and restore our land. But there is hope. The fight against desertification is not a lost cause. Communities worldwide are restoring land, implementing innovative techniques to combat desertification and reclaim degraded areas, and reviving ecosystems, bringing life back to barren landscapes and creating more resilient environments. Their efforts prove that healing is possible, that even the most degraded land can be restored with dedication and sustainable practices. Understanding desertification, recognizing its causes and consequences, is the first step toward a greener future. A future where we live in harmony with nature and protect our planet for generations to come. Desertification is fueled by both nature and human actions. Climate change brings longer droughts and shifting rainfall, drying out the land. But human activity often tips the balance. Overgrazing strips vegetation, compacts soil, and leaves earth exposed to erosion. Deforestation removes trees that anchor soil and retain moisture, making land vulnerable. Unsustainable farming, monocultures, excessive tilling, and chemical overuse exhausts soil and destroys its structure. Without rest, land loses fertility, forcing farmers to abandon it or rely on artificial inputs. The result, a vicious cycle of degradation. Desertification is not inevitable, it's a consequence of choices. By changing how we use land, we can break the cycle. The solution starts with us. Desertification's impact is immediate, devastating, and far-reaching, touching every corner of the globe. It's not just about land turning to desert, it's about the unraveling of ecosystems and the disruption of human lives. The consequences ripple outwards, affecting everything from local communities to international economies. Farmers lose crops, their livelihoods vanishing as fertile land becomes barren. The fields that once provided sustenance now offer only dust and despair. Years of hard work and investment are wiped out in a single season, leaving families struggling to survive. Families face hunger, their plates empty, their children malnourished. The lack of food security leads to desperation and vulnerability, especially for the most vulnerable members of society. The specter of famine looms large, casting a shadow over entire communities, and many are forced to migrate, abandoning their homes and ancestral lands in search of a better future. These climate refugees face immense challenges, often finding themselves displaced and marginalized in unfamiliar territories. The human cost of desertification is immeasurable. Communities unravel as resources dwindle, their social fabric torn apart by scarcity and competition. The bonds that once held them together weaken, leading to fragmentation and conflict. The heart of the community slowly dies as people are forced to leave, sparking conflict over water and land as desperate populations compete for dwindling resources. The struggle for survival can lead to violence and instability, further exacerbating the crisis. Water, the lifeblood of these communities, becomes a source of contention and strife. Cultural traditions tied to the land fade as people leave, their heritage lost to the sands of time. The stories, songs, and rituals that once defined their identity are slowly forgotten. A rich tapestry of human experience is unraveling before our eyes. Ecologically, biodiversity collapses, the delicate balance of nature is shattered. The intricate web of life that sustains us all is weakened, making ecosystems more vulnerable to further degradation. The consequences are far-reaching and potentially irreversible. Plants, animals, and insects lose their habitats, their populations dwindling as their homes disappear. Species face extinction, and the natural world becomes a poorer, less resilient place. The loss of biodiversity diminishes the planet's capacity to support life. The silence of a barren landscape replaces the vibrant sounds of life, a haunting reminder of what has been lost. The once thriving ecosystems are now reduced to desolate wastelands, devoid of life and hope. The silence is deafening. National economies suffer as agriculture declines, impacting trade, employment, and overall prosperity. The loss of agricultural productivity undermines economic stability and creates a cycle of poverty and dependence. The ripple effects are felt throughout the entire nation, leading to debt and instability, hindering development and perpetuating poverty. Governments struggle to cope with the economic fallout, diverting resources away from essential services. The future of these nations hangs in the balance. Dust storms from degraded land disrupt cities, blanketing them in a suffocating haze of sand and particulate matter. These storms disrupt daily life, causing transportation delays, school closures, and economic losses. The air becomes thick with dust, making it difficult to breathe. Harm health, causing respiratory illnesses and exacerbating existing conditions. The fine particles in the dust can penetrate deep into the lungs, leading to chronic health problems and increased mortality rates. The health burden on already strained healthcare systems is immense, and even affect oceans and glaciers, contributing to climate change and sea level rise. The dust particles can darken snow and ice, accelerating melting and disrupting global weather patterns. The interconnectedness of the Earth's systems means that desertification has far-reaching consequences. The cost of a barren field is paid by all of us, everywhere, regardless of where we live. We are all interconnected, and the degradation of one part of the planet affects us all. Ignoring this crisis is not an option. Desertification is not just an environmental issue, it's a threat to our collective well-being and the future of our planet. It exacerbates climate change, undermines food security, and fuels social unrest. We must recognize the urgency of the situation and act accordingly. It's social, impacting communities, displacing populations, and exacerbating inequalities. The human cost of desertification is immense, and we must address the social dimensions of this crisis to find lasting solutions. Economic, undermining livelihoods, disrupting markets, and hindering sustainable development. The economic consequences of desertification are far-reaching, and we must invest in sustainable land management practices to build resilient economies and global, affecting international relations, threatening peace and security, and impacting the entire planet. Desertification is a global challenge that requires a coordinated international response. We must work together to address this crisis and build a sustainable future for all. Reversing it is essential for our shared future, for the well-being of our planet, and for the prosperity of generations to come. We have the knowledge and the tools to combat desertification, but we need the political will and the collective action to make it happen. The stakes are high, the consequences of inaction are dire, and the time to act is now. We must rise to the challenge and commit to reversing desertification for the sake of our planet and our future. But so is the potential for renewal, for restoring degraded lands, and for creating a more sustainable world. With commitment and innovation, we can transform barren landscapes into thriving ecosystems, providing food, water, and livelihoods for millions. The time to act is now. Let's work together to heal the land and secure a brighter future for all. In northern China, the Great Green Wall is a bold response to desertification. Since 1978, billions of trees have been planted to halt the Gobi Desert's advance and reduce dust storms. The project has stabilized sand dunes, revived wildlife, and created new economic opportunities. Yet, early mistakes, like planting monocultures, taught hard lessons. Now, the focus is on diverse native species that thrive in arid conditions. The Great Green Wall shows that large-scale restoration is possible but must be guided by science and local knowledge. Ambition alone isn't enough, wisdom is essential. China's journey is a lesson in adapting and improving. Restoration is a process, not a one-time fix. Saudi Arabia's Saudi Green Initiative aims to plant 10 billion trees, transforming deserts into green oases. The plan uses treated wastewater, cloud seeding, and drought-resistant native species to overcome harsh conditions. It's about more than trees. Restoring mangroves, protecting natural areas, and creating parks are all part of the vision. The goal: cooler cities, cleaner air, and new habitats for wildlife. This initiative is a long-term investment in sustainability and economic diversification. Even in the world's driest places, restoration is possible with innovation and commitment. Saudi Arabia's efforts show that environmental health is national wealth. The journey has just begun, but the ambition is clear. In Niger, a quiet revolution is restoring millions of hectares led by farmers, not governments. The technique farmer-managed natural regeneration, or FMNR. Instead of clearing all vegetation, farmers nurture shoots and saplings that sprout from old roots. This low-cost local approach has added 200 million trees and doubled crop yields in some areas. Trees and rich soil provide shade and offer firewood and fodder close to home. Food security has improved and women spend less time gathering wood. Niger's story proves that local knowledge and agency are powerful tools for restoration. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the most effective. Change starts from the ground up. Restoring land brings a cascade of benefits, a ripple effect that touches every aspect of our lives and environment. It's not just about returning the land to its former glory, it's about creating a future where both people and nature can thrive together. Food and water security improve, becoming more reliable and accessible for communities. This is especially crucial in regions facing the challenges of climate change and resource scarcity. This happens as healthy soils yield better harvests, providing more food with less effort, and retain more moisture, making agriculture more resilient to drought. The soil acts like a sponge, holding on to precious water resources. Diverse crops and agroforestry, where trees and shrubs are integrated into agricultural systems, boost incomes and resilience, providing farmers with multiple sources of revenue and buffering them against market fluctuations and environmental shocks. Ecotourism and new jobs emerge in revitalized landscapes, offering alternative livelihoods and stimulating local economies. People are drawn to the beauty and tranquility of restored natural areas. Regreening is a powerful tool against climate change, helping to mitigate its effects and build a more sustainable future for all. This is because plants and soils store carbon, effectively removing it from the atmosphere and cooling the planet. It's a natural solution to a global problem. Restored land regulates local climates, creating more favorable conditions for agriculture and human well-being. It also encourages stable rainfall, ensuring a reliable water supply for crops and communities. This helps to prevent droughts and floods, creating a more stable and predictable environment. Biodiversity returns, enriching ecosystems and making them more resilient to change. This happens with wildlife reclaiming habitats and ecosystems coming back to life, creating a vibrant and balanced natural world. For communities, restoration rebuilds social bonds and strengthens local economies. It fosters pride, hope, and a deeper connection to the land, empowering people to take control of their future. It's proof that positive change is possible, even in the face of seemingly insurmountable challenges. Every tree planted, every field restored, is a step towards a healthier and more sustainable world. It is an investment in the future, ensuring that generations to come will inherit a thriving planet. The benefits ripple far beyond the land itself, extending to our health, our economies, and our overall well-being. Healing the earth heals us all, creating a virtuous cycle of positive change. The rewards are both practical and profound, tangible and intangible, making land restoration one of the most impactful actions we can take for a better future. The fight against desertification faces huge obstacles. 40% of the world's land is degraded, and reversing this trend requires massive, sustained investment. Poverty is a major barrier. Those most affected often lack resources for restoration. Insecure land rights and short-term needs can undermine long-term solutions. Political will and funding are often inconsistent. Climate change makes restoration harder, with unpredictable droughts and heat waves. Our efforts must be both restorative and adaptive, building resilience for an uncertain future. The challenge is great, but not insurmountable. The best restoration efforts blend traditional wisdom with modern science. Ancient techniques like zai pits in the Sahel or terraces in the Andes are tailored to local conditions. Ignoring local knowledge has led to failed projects. Success comes from empowering communities. Technology, satellites, drones, genetic research can accelerate and guide restoration. The ideal approach is partnership scientists and locals working together, combining old and new. This synergy creates solutions that are effective, sustainable, and culturally appropriate. Healing the land requires both memory and innovation. The future lies in collaboration. Desertification is a global problem demanding a global response. The United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification unites countries to share knowledge and resources. International organizations fund and support projects, from China's Great Green Wall to grassroots efforts in Niger. Regional partnerships like Africa's Great Green Wall restore land and create jobs across borders. Collaboration is vital. Dust storms and migration don't respect boundaries. By working together, nations can share solutions and scale up success. Global cooperation is essential to meet ambitious restoration goals. The fight for healthy land is a shared mission. The challenge of desertification is immense, but hope is real. Innovation, education, and collective action are driving change. New technologies and sustainable practices are reviving land worldwide. Education empowers people to become part of the solution, from schoolchildren to farmers. Every action counts. Planting a tree, choosing sustainable products, holding leaders accountable. The health of the earth is our shared responsibility. The loss or restoration of land in one place affects us all. Stories from Niger, China, and Saudi Arabia prove that change is possible. Humanity can be a force for healing. Our future depends on the choices we make today.